Okay, welcome. Let us deal with this matter. If anyone is a prophet and claims that he was truly called by God, in quotation marks, they should never die, become sick, or depressed. We want to share a disclaimer here because you are using the word God. We are using it because a lot of people conflate it with the real unknowable creator. The unknowable who is beyond source or existence, does not speak, does not appear, and does not deal with humans at all. However, if someone says they have been truly called by unknowable real creator or a God, they should never die at all. Because of that, the radical ontology posited in our book, No More Masters, the book that the damage or gods do not want you to read, which you should read today anyway against their commands, proves that the unknowable real creator, created, nameless, beyond all categories, represent not God or the Allah or Yahweh or Jesus, who is a full-time and who are full-time gods or deities or divinities or spirits. They are approachable by humans or approachable by other entities. But beyond what we are comprehending here, there is no mere mysticism when we deal with the unknowable real creator. This is a post-structuralist deconstruction of being itself, where the act of describing the unknowable real creator will cause you to collapse as an observer into the observed, becoming one with the unknowable real creator. And this is a problem because the paradox and fatal contradiction is that any entity claiming proximity to this real unknowableness while remaining bound to mortality exposes itself as a fraud. Prophets perish, the awakened, the gurus, the enlightened, all do not live forever physically, they perish. Consider the axiomatic premise. If the real creator is ontologically unknowable and beyond all dualities, including existence, non-existence, then any articulation of it instantiates a performative contradiction. To describe the nameless is to impose form upon the formless, to reduce the beyond infinity potentiality, the quantum force field, as metaphorically ground state of all superstition, to a finite signifier. This is not poetic license, but logical heresy. It never happens. It will never happen. A violation of Godelian incompleteness extends to metaphysics. No system can itself reference its own totality without paradox. Likewise, no finite mind can encapsulate that which is beyond the infinity without distraction and sublimation. When we follow epistemology in this category as a post-metaphysical forensic of finality, we realize that every cadaver is a silent syllogism, every sarcophagus a sealed archive, every founder and his grave, and the enlightened one and their grave that expires in linear time were victims of biological determinism that delivered them to decomposition. The most incontrovertible data point in human history and our cognition here is that they did not encounter the uncreated real creator. Not partially, not metaphorically, not in spirit, not even at all. Because that's what the forensic tells us. If truly called by God, they shouldn't die. All these shouldn't die. Because if they had that encounter, if even one had crossed the threshold into that which is not being, not consciousness, not existence, but precedes these categories as the unconditioned ground of no ground, they would not have returned to the fragile architecture of individuated perception. They would not have aged. They would not have bled blood. They would not have died. Their mortality is not incidental. It is dispositive. Proof that they were ordinary, normal human beings, not prophets. The mortality audit proves that all prophets failed. Their inspiration did not come from the unknowable real creator, but from elsewhere. Jesus, as a corpse, is legendary, failed to meet the unknowable real creator. Moses, corpse, lawgiver, died at 120 years, failed Unknowable Real Creator contact. Muhammad, corpse, had some revelation, failed Unknowable Real Creator contact. Buddha, corpse, had good doctrines, failed to meet Unknowable Real Creator contact. Lao Tzu, corpse, produced the Tao, failed to meet the Unknowable Real Creator contact. Your favorite guru will become a corpse soon because they will fail to meet the Unknowable Real Creator contact. Therefore, this is very, very clear. Death is not a test you pass or fail. It is proof you never left the examination room at all. This is clear. Because the real creator is not a spirit, not a being, not a force, not a consciousness, not a clergy, nothing, not love, not hate, nothing. The real creator is the silence beyond all silences, beyond all name. It's not a deity you can commune with, a void you can dissolve into, a field you can resonate with, a truth you can realize, a presence you can feel, a name you can whisper. None. The mortality audit that we have just given is very, very clear. It proves that all prophets failed. Their inspiration did not come from the Unknowable Real Creator, but perhaps from their own experiences, ability to do cold reading, or hot reading, other spirits or entities, profound, yes, or neurological systems, or cultural coded messages, psychological transformative knowings, but all confined within the theater of existence. The very domain the Unknowable Real Creator negates as provisional scaffolding or nothing. The resurrection con, a narrative that gives Christianity some immunology against falsifiability. Christianity's resurrection myth is a masterclass in epistemic evasion. Whoever dies is proof that they are mortal. Whoever resurrects must remain on earth as evidence, not to allow us to use faith or vanish so that their position becomes very, very tenable. This is not theology. It is cognitive malware, a self-replicating loop that replaces falsifiability with devotion, evidence with absence, and authority with silence. All this. The corpse becomes a black box. Whatever interpreters say it means, it cannot contradict them. Hence, the master-making machine thrives on death. Dead prophets cannot revise their doctrines. Dead saviors cannot reject their churches, their synagogues, and their mosques. Dead gurus cannot denounce their cults. Corpses are perfect authority figures because they never talk back. If anyone says they have been truly called by God, they shouldn't die at all because their death becomes proof that they were just human. They never contacted anything superior. Now, who can get away with this law that if anyone is truly called by God, they should never die, but they all die? Look, theists, their prophets are falsehoods, they worship them. It is necromancy dressed in piety. Atheist, you correctly reject God, but you mistake the prison, matter, and space-time for the whole universe. The Unknowable Real Creator is not a material thing. It is pre-material. Before your Big Bang, agnostics, you say we can't know. You still use we and the know, and you are drawing fences around the fenceless. Spiritual seekers, your DMT trips, yoga, meditations, Kundalini rushes, and chakra alignments are neurochemical symphonies within existence, not exits from it. Mystics, you died to ego and came back. Then it wasn't death. It was a very convincing metaphor. Buddhists, your nirvana is still a goal, a state. The Unknowable Real Creator is not emptiness. Neither is it an emptiness. It is the collapse, perhaps, of the category of emptiness. Philosophers, your systems are elegant labyrinths built inside the skull of Maya. The Unknowable Real Creator doesn't be. It and makes being as a premise. Scientists, you map the universe with breathtaking precision, but you are describing the dream, not the dreamer, and certainly not the absence of dreaming. No one escapes, not even this text. But when we look at African ancestral cosmologies, we find two superior paradigms that are grander and logical frameworks rooted in immanent continuity rather than transcendent absence, where ancestors are not spectral revenants but genetic algorithms propagating code across generations. Resurrection here is algorithmic iteration. The child is recursive instantaneous of ancestral data, alive in DNA, in rituals, and communal memory. No faith leap required, only observable heritability. Unlike prophetic resurrections, which posit a discontinuous supernatural rapture, African systems affirm a fractal persistency. The ancestor lives in the progeny, unbound by singular embodiment. This humility refuses to anthropomorphize the ultimate source as a paternal arbiter. The uncreated remains withdrawn, while the created honors proximity echoes without claiming mastery over the abyss. That's the first paradigm. The second paradigm, in many cases, is that in Isintu and Ubuntu, when you synthesize it to its core value, the creator is nameless, is beyond spirit, beyond date, unknowable. Therefore, is absolute remoteness. And we have no prophets to connect us to this unknowable one. So remember this, what was said by Carnegie. The first one gets the oyster, the second one gets the shell. A lot of our melanin-dominant human beings today are getting the shell. And the others who are smart enough are getting the oyster. Because the oyster is what the world's oldest people, melanin-dominant human beings, taught. That the creator is unknowable and ancestors must be revered. That there are no masters, there is no guilty, that there is no afterlife bribes. You have to work for cosmic ascendancy on your scoreboard. The uncreated real creator is unreachable, unknowable, and cannot be contacted. Ancestors, however, remain accessible through memory, genetics, culture, and ritual. Now we have been given prophets who die. Our ancestors never died. They are alive today in my blood, in my genes. And you are following someone who never had such an opportunity. So, why did Africa never had prophets? Because African rituals, libations, invocation, the repetition of names, trance states, drumming, and collective remembrance are alignment technologies. They synchronize the practitioner and his identity and high identity with resonant frequencies in the waters of Nyunyu, with partners like our ancestors and our gods. We go through the quantum force field, strengthening psychological and existential coherence today. Correct and true rituals do not summon spirits, because you already have the divine spark. All what you need is to tune that divine spark's vibration to ancestral informational patterns or frequency, and as well as the God's frequency in their plane, and you then end up in the waters of Nyunyu or quantum force field. If truly called by God, these prophets should never die. But they die because they are not called by the unknowable real creator. They are called either by themselves or by some other low-level spirits. Hence, they die. If you want to learn more on this and your original oyster, African rituals or melanin-dominant rituals, as well as to own a deeper, meaningful set of books, send us an email so that we can deal and also share what we have. I'm your manager Toby, preacher Rabbi LM Tumizu Kunikeni Mjaganja, saying, till we meet again. Remember, Africa never followed prophets, but we followed our own technologies, which are still here. I am a member of my family network that practices this and partners this with the gods and our righteous ancestors. Till we meet again, stay cool, stay well, stay safe, beware of those that die. Amen.